What's going on YouTube? This is your Melanated Warrior, and I'm on fire. Come on, let's go. Let's get right back into it. We ain't got no time to waste. You know I don't hold y'all up. Let's go back to that map, man. Because obviously, now, one thing you got to understand, now keep this is proper context. Now, you see this, you see how small it was, right? And then what do you also have that's significant in the early 19th century? You have the War of 1812. I'm pretty sure that you guys have heard about this right now. It was the war between, the America at the time versus Britain. You know what I'm saying? And then what you have to understand is that it would, see how misleading it is? They say the War of 1812 like it was 1 year. It was a 3-year war. Now, mind you, they said that they liberated themselves from these motherfuckers in 1776. Okay, so they back to fighting them in 1812. Now, remind you, this how small they is. Think about it. The Civil War coming up and all of that different stuff. They at war all the time. They're warring here. The Spanish end up, helping to control this part, East and West Florida. You got the French. They control this middle part. The Indians control all the rest of it. But yet, this is this process of where they're using disease to ravage them. Remember, we talked about the feral hogs that they released. The Europeans brought over, was using it for food. And that these feral hogs didn't have no known predators after 2 weeks of age, and they were spreading disease, destroying ecosystems. That's how they won. See, y'all, I know y'all are perplexed because everybody who teaching y'all black history, you still have questions as to how did they successfully do it? Through germs. Remember, we just discussed they weapons wasn't shit. They weren't coming shooting none of these strong-ass indigenous individuals and ridding them that way through hand-to-hand combat. They had to use disease. This is why I'm telling you that the so-called European has always done this. We talked about those 6 iconic, phases of history that the European has succumbed to, because once you use a biological weapon, one thing you can't do is control it. You see what I'm saying? So what he brought was disease. We know that we said that they articulated that in the book, or was articulated by Bartolomé de la Casa in 1552. We understand that. Okay, so when you take a look at all these things, you have to take these things, you have to take these things seriously, because disease is biological and chemical warfare is what they're truly adept at, because they are vectors, a vector species. They can hold these diseases until it's time to use them. Why you think, like I said before, there's a name for rabies in every culture. In Greek, for Greeks, it was Lysa. For in Latin, it's Rabir. And, in Sanskrit, it is Rabhas. It ain't no damn virus. You see, and they've been playing with you. And then, of course, I can't really speak up on individuals because it's considered to be black blasphemy. Every time I mention somebody in our culture that somebody reveres or has a lot of adoration for, then, of course, I'm the bad man. You know what I'm saying? When these individuals been writing for y'all talent and funneling these demons through them, and then you don't understand that you participating in rituals. I don't care if it's Michael Jackson who was doing the moonwalk for these lunar people. I really don't. I don't care that his first video that he put out that was major was Thriller. Now go listen to it again. Like I said, I'm an 80s baby. They was pumping you and telling you it was coming. Pretty soon, one of the most iconic horror flicks was the movie Cujo. The dog. He got bit by a bat and went rabid. Because you think it's a game. It affects the brain. How do you know? How do you think they find out if a bat has rabies? They have to take the brain out. But you know this, right? Because, you don't mess with pseudo niggas, do you? Let me show you. You think I'm reaching when it comes to this shit, man? First, let me say something. Let me let you know that, like I said, when you pull back that curtain, there's going to be niggas that look just like you. Like, we got a couple photos just to show you, just to reiterate this. Okay, you see these niggas now. They say that that's the white power sign. Mind you, they are redefining what that symbol means now, because that's what you can do with symbols. Okay? Even though we've seen that entertainers and politicians throw it up, right? But they're saying that means white supremacy. And then they're showing you that, then what they're doing is they're putting people next to these images or next to these signs in order to help to redefine the image, right? So that's what you're going to see it as. That's what the next generation going to see it as, right? Okay? That's the case. Hold on one second. Give me a second. Got to scroll down and get it. Man, I got so much information in. Hey, hold on. Hold up. Man, this picture couldn't have been that far down. Guess it is. We're going to get to it, people. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. This is amazing. I could swear to you I had this photo. Don't give me. Hold on. It's gonna be worth it because I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see exactly what's going on. You know, it's because we can't be misled. You know, we think that these people are for us. We think that these people are for us, and nothing can be further from the truth. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I'm telling you that they've been breeding these cats, man. You think that these people come out of left field, you know, and that, and of course, people talk about, yeah, you know, crisis actors and all of that different stuff. Yeah, of course. But, you know, what's even more powerful is if that they can make it a reality, you know, their numbers, we know 33, 18, 6, 9, and 3 and all of that. But the thing is that if real things can happen with those numbers, like, so if someone who is of that age or, you know, and you can, you know, kill or get rid of somebody during that time, you know, where the numbers match up, that's a very powerful ritual. So a lot of them are not just hoaxes. We can't just always assume that they're hoaxes. We got to get away from that, you know, because eventually, you know, they're going to put themselves in a position to really actually do it. Now, this is the photo that I'm talking about. Now, you see, that's a fraternity. Obviously should be a sorority because I'm some bitch ass niggas. But look what they throwing up. Is that the white power signal? A white power symbol? Is that it? Is that what you talking about? Oh, okay. We finna show you somebody else right quick. You know, it might not be the same fraternity, but the end result is the same. The end result is the same. Who is that? Who that look like? Look at that. Look how he looking. Swollen, rolling, look like he came out of somebody Colin Martin. You know what I'm saying? These niggas, look. These niggas making a stern effort to what? To continue to keep confusing you because they want to talk about that. Remember what I expose all the time, man, you know, is that, you know, these individuals will, you know, continue to keep, you know, pushing that narrative so that it keeps you in the dark. And you have to understand that they're participating in the ritual. Remember we talked about lunar and lunacy and where that all comes from and stuff like that and how they all know about this. We said that, and even linguists will tell you what languages are related genetically. So we know that the Chinese language is from the Indo-European branch. These are modern geopolitical constructs. You know, the Ural Mountains, Caucasus Mountains, dividing them between Asia and all. That's what they say. They're all one people. And I'm going to tell you, they all have the same agenda because it all boils down, you know, skip that language shit. What is important is the godlike molecule melanin. That's what you need to know. And they don't have it. Europeans, you know, especially if you have they the ones who coined this SPF, sun protecting factor. And Asians and so-called Europeans are like 1 and 2. The scale goes from 1 to 14. They're at 2. The most protection you can have is 14. And you know, melanated beings are between 12 and 14. Naturally. That's why I said that's also evidence for it's stupid for you to be sitting up there wearing sunscreen. Especially when we know that they call it glacier cream. Like I said, you listening to dumb, smart-ass niggas. Okay, look at this right here. All right? Read that quickly, because I'm going to read it, because I don't have a lot of time. Because, hey, look, let me tell you something. The video I'm finna show you at the end of this, you know I bring the heat. CCTV under fire after Chinese New Year Gala features blackface performers again as Beijing celebrates Africa ties. Let's read. Chinese state TV has been labeled racist after its Spring Festival Gala kicked off with a celebration of African culture featuring Chinese dancers in African-style costumes and blackface makeup beating drums. The 5-hour annual program, which has drawn as many as 800 million viewers in the past, caused a storm on Twitter with activists and commentators lambasting China's CCTV for the culturally inappropriate move. The show, titled African Song and Dance, and featured blackface dancers and a man dressed as a monkey, aired on Thursday as Asia welcomed in the lunar year of the ox in a subdued fashion due to COVID-19 restrictions. Now, so we go to the lunar year of the ox. We know the ox, the difference between an ox and a cow is the fact that an ox is a cow that's used for work. That's it. That's the difference between an ox and a cow. They're bovines. Okay. Now, what's interesting is you have a term. Now we go to who's the father of the vaccine? Edward Jenner. Okay. He wrote a book in 1798 about his accomplishments, right? He's the one who used cowpox in order to treat smallpox. That was the first vaccine. Okay. Now, this is the thing. What does vaccine mean? It's Latin for valiore vaccine. Okay. Now, what you have to understand is that translates into cowpox. Because it's symbolic. Now, remember, that was in 1798. This is why the great Dr. Henry Clark told you, always know dates. That helps you to put things in the proper context. What is the map that I just shown you? Remember, 1791 was the first consensus. Edward Jenner wrote his book in 1798. That was the size of them. You think that they were sitting up here doing things to help us? We didn't even know these motherfuckers existed. So we had to go to war with them. They were making these advancements in so-called science for themselves because all these diseases are endemic to the so-called European population. Typhus, syphilis. Okay, remember, syphilis was renamed by an Italian physician called Girolamo in 1530. It was called booba disease first. So you had lice. You do know that crabs is basically lice in the pubic area. So lice was giving them typhus. This is one of the reasons why they wore wigs. You thinking these people, kings and queens, wore wigs because they wore wigs because of typhus. That's what lice gives them. Measles, because everybody keeps talking about, yeah, they gave the Indian smallpox. That's the least of that. They gave them rabies. See, but most people dealing with pseudo-ass niggas. This is one of the reasons why a lot of this stuff doesn't get brought to the forefront, right? And you know what I'm saying? Pause. I'm finna do some small things like a commercial break too. That's gonna be like a new feature on my on this platform right now, because I want to show you that these commercials help you to continue to identify what you're dealing with or what energy that you're dealing with, because this is going on outside of your awareness. And like they say, out of sight, out of mind. You're not seeing it, but I'm gonna make you aware of it so that you understand that you're the belly of the beast. Because think about this. Remember we talked about Christ being, Washington D.C., Virginia, Maryland, Virgin Mary, Christ, and then in D.C. bestiality is legal. Okay, now let's go to this. Like I said, 1976 Copyright Act. And, we're going to get it started. Just want to show you this is a commercial break. Bent over for the deer and everything. All right. I'm just letting you know who you're aware with. Making you aware of who you're around. You see what I'm saying? Because we're not all the same. Our people don't be running around in mass doing shit like this. We got to quit all of that. We got to stop thinking like that. You see what I'm saying? So remember when I was telling you about, I want to read an article because like I said, we got to understand that, these arguments and stuff like that against us, we're allowing people to, they're casting spells over us. Okay, just like I told you before, you can't, if you got a Ouija board, which I don't, but if you had a Ouija board, everybody know what a Ouija board looked like. If you took the letters off a Ouija board, can you cast a spell? Okay then, shut up, niggas. It's important. This how they're casting spells on us. The music that we listen to, all of this helps to cast these spells. And then even with the language, remember how, as hip hop began to creep up into suburban culture or into mainstream culture and become a part of pop culture, one of the big arguments, in the beginning was, oh yeah, how come I can't say the word nigga, the N-word. Remember Lame Z was on Oprah talking about why he used the N-word, and everybody's like this big debate. And like I said, remember, everything is just driven to get you emotional, because if you were to think logically about it, you would be like, okay, well, you Blancos say nigga all the time. What's the whole point? No, they needed to rephrase it for you. What they wanted to do was say, why can't I say it around you? Because that's the only time that it has power. Nobody wants to do nothing when there's no power associated to it. You see what I'm saying? The whole real question was, why can't I say it around you? You see what I'm saying? All these terms, mother effer, all these terms that we use when remember I talked about dog, and that's my dog. We've taken their culture and we've added some spice to it, as we always do with anything. But that don't make it right. Just like we talking about with soul food. We took the scraps. That don't make it right. You see what I'm saying? So even something like when you, a term called brood parasites, B-R-O-O-D. Now this is crazy. Birds, insects, and fish do this, but primarily birds. And what a bird will do, because mind you, we call our women birds and chicken heads and stuff like this. What a lot of these birds will do, they would do something called mimicry, especially egg mimicry. They will mimic the way an egg look, usually inside of the same species, but a lot of times with different species. They will mimic the way that different species egg look, so that person can take care of their young while they go out eating and fucking again. Yes, real talk. That's what you call your women, birds, chicken heads. And what do they ironically enough do with that energy, because you cast a spell out on them? They have somebody, the government, take care of their young while they go out eating, drinking, smoking, and fucking and creating more children. See how great these spells work? especially when you're ignorant of them. Now, I'm going to show you a painting after I read this article, because remember I told you about those phases that all this being has been is a walking biological agent, a carrier. That's all it's ever been. And like we said before, these vaccines that he's come up, smallpox, measles, rubella, these are all his diseases. This man start a fire, then bring water, and you applaud him on the back? Okay, so what I'm finna read to you was something that was, kind of like paraphrased from the Roman philosopher Galen. Like I said, we finna get right into it because the video I'm finna show you here at the end, I don't want to hear nothing from nobody, because one thing that I'm finna tell you, and the only other places you've been seeing this in movies, but it hasn't been articulated like this in this manner, so, with real science, so that you can understand where was the bridge that connects it all. All right? Now, this is what he says. This is a historian who's also quoting him, but this is this article. It comes from ancient.eu/article 1534. So if you want to pick this receipt up. But it goes on to say, further, countries or nationalities which were not yet infected seized on the misfortune of others. We're going to get into that. Remember, seized on the misfortune of others, planning invasions when their neighbors were at their weakest instead of offering help. Remember that. As Tushman observes, however, before they could move, the savage mortality fell upon them too, scattering some in death and the rest in panic to spread the disease and infection. What does that sound like? The rest went in panic to go spread it? Let me show you a picture that was a portrait that was painted in 1809 by Sir Christopher Bell. Just to show you. This is tetanus. Remember, tetanus is what you get the shot that you have to get if you get rabies. Because tetanus isn't just for lockjaw, it's for complete muscle spasms. So remember when I started off the article and I read to you, they say that the people will come in when these individuals are at their weakest and take their possessions and belongings. If you spazzing up and can't move, that's when somebody will come in. But often than not, some people would jump up. And when these motherfuckers jumped up, they were violent and they were fast. They couldn't get away. What does it sound like to you? I'm going to ask you, what does it sound like? Like I said before, man, you guys gotta do a better job of identifying it, because now they can do whatever they want to do. Like, I'm gonna show you another photograph. See, Ebola pandemic declared in Guinea. Now let's read just a little bit of it. It said the 3 fell ill with diarrhea. 3. That's all they need now to declare a pandemic. You see, because, and then you have to know eventually we'll become the face of it, because how do we know? Take a look at the word Ebola. The Belgians had named it because they claimed that was the name that was given from the way that a tribe, the Lingala tribe, it meant Black River, right? That's what they claimed, right? Because that's what they wanted it to mean. There's some other cultures say it means White River, right? But they took the Lingala interpretation because they want black to be associated with this virus. Because when you take off river, what do you have? The black virus. Okay, might as well lump it on top with HIV, diabetes, attention, hypertension, osteoporosis, all of that. Might as well, lump it on with all of that, because we're the face of. That's what they want you to be the face of, because when it comes to nature, they're the face of every affliction. They can't be out in our sun, and so therefore they're so adept at manipulation. They can create a field called dermatology, skin scientists, but have the worst skin on the planet. See, these are the people that these pseudo-ass niggas follow. And they say, oh yeah, you don't get credit. If you come out here and say, have an opposing thought, people say, now look how slick this is. Look how they got it set up. If I ran and rave about the sun, the moon, and outer space and all that, ain't nobody going, because I'm not saying nothing that is that you don't agree with. But as soon as I disagree with you, somebody's going to say, where's your degrees at? Okay, nigga, that's so stupid. They're not going to teach you in school what is not supposed to be seen and heard in the mind. In the real mind. So one thing that's going to happen is that you're going to have to learn these things on your own. You're going to have to deconstruct, and then you're going to have to rebuild. That's inevitably what all great learners or all great intellects have to do. Period. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said, we have to be aware of that, because they're not going to teach you this stuff in school, because remember, the information is compartmentalized. It's there, it's in those books, But when you're studying chapter 3 to 6 and then you skip to chapter 17 and 18, how much information do you not have to put the story together? Imagine if you were trying to solve a murder, but you got no suspect names, you got no murder weapon. So like I said before, it's just, these are the things that we have to make sure that, we become conscious of. Let's do another commercial break because like we said, we're going to, let you know exactly who you're dealing with. And if you think that, Cruz going on vacation, was insulting, I think that you might find this equally as insulting, from what was going on, over in Texas. I'm playing it for you right quick. Commercial break. Those are turtles. And them bitches live outside. They brought them bitches inside to save them. Yet, your children freezing. I told you niggas, man, turn into a dog, man, you're going to get reparations. And even if they get reparations, and even if they talk about giving you reparations, remember, it's going to come along with that shot because that's the end game. That's the end game. You see what I'm saying? So, like I said before, man, we have to check ourselves in terms of that, and we have to always remain vigilant, when it comes to, figuring out or remain vigilant in, the act of acquiring knowledge, right? And remaining aggressive thereof. Because if we don't, then we start listening to people because we become lax and we rely on their research. We're like, oh, this guy's a credible individual, is always stuck it in there, but slowly but surely you see him changing. And you have to acknowledge the change. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that, you're going to find yourself lax in every other area. Well, yeah, this person, they do this, but then no, you don't want nobody, to condition you to keep your guard down. And then as soon as you got your guard up, they start to ridicule you. Oh, nigga, this is how it is. Yeah, you niggas is dumb. No, nigga, you're dumb. You're dumb, nigga. Running around looking like a damn fool, man. Running around looking like a damn fool. Oh, don't forget about it. I got this awesome video to show you at the end to put the nail in the coffin. Because, like I said, this is the end game finale. I don't think that I have to go and expound on this. I mean, of course, I'm pretty sure this is going to open up, the opportunities, or this is not even an opportunity. Yeah, it's going to open up opportunities for debate. That's what I would say. I think so. Because then you're going to have these lame ass niggas with compartmentalized information trying to come for Hey Roo, and they going to get they ship sunk. It ain't going to be pretty. It ain't going to be pretty. I had a dude who was trying to, he was like, oh, because I left a message, because he wanted to debate about, immunology and the basics of immunology. And I guess he may have went to my channel. I ain't heard from that nigga since. Man, because I'll be proving to people. Just like through little stuff, I can prove. I'm like, you niggas don't want to live forever. You have so many people acting like, that's why I told you before, if you ain't trying to live forever, then be prepared to go out the way you want to go out. You ain't trying to live forever. And how do I know that? I can prove it to you. Because most people don't even want to be 30, 40 years old. They think that's old. How you going to live forever if you think 30 and 40 is old? That's stupid. So you got people who think their life is we've taken on the Blancos mindset. That's how they thought. That's how they thought because their life expectancy was very low. Our life is just beginning, to say the least, at that age. Because the Most High know about that time, that's when you're going to figure things out. That's when you should start your life. You see, you talking about living forever, but then what they'll do, they'll show you some creature who's dead because vampires come out of caskets. We know that's what they have in common with zombies. They're both dead. And they put some old, they put some, make a white man extra pale, throw some red on his lips, make some teeth come out his mouth, and women be like, oh, that's romantic, it's sexy. They live forever. Telling you, man, you keep dealing with pseudo-ass niggas, and that's exactly what will continue to come about. There's nothing else that I can, like I said, I don't do this just to to clout chase, because that's not what it is. But we got to get this correct, because I see that it's a lot of people that look up to him, so he has to be careful. That's a huge responsibility, and what he got to use that people parading around, getting behind this. Oh, Trump's gonna do this, and like I told white folks, they don't even know their history, and they didn't. And they don't know that all throughout their history, this is what they've been doing. If they research those areas, those time periods of those plagues, they will realize that that's what brought down the Byzantine Empire. And the Romans and all that. They talk about invasions. Remember, they went mad. When they talk about the invasions, they're talking about the plague coming in. They only talk about that, but when you research the plagues, they don't mention the plagues really through history. They talk about battles and they make it romantic, and they make movies and shows and series out of it with them with shields and swords. Like, yeah, that's how they did it. No, in the fuck they didn't. And you gotta think about it. They're in a small tribes. So if you're in a small tribe and your tribe is your family, then who you fucking? So that's what I'm saying. It's by nature that they're incestuous, because that's how they had to survive, to reproduce. But like I said before, man, these people, they don't even, you're never going to get them to convince them that racism exists. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a prime example. I'm pretty sure you heard of this story. We're going to, country singer, right? This dude right here. I'm going to read it. It says, Morgan Wallen music sales spike after racial slur despite drop in airplay. Right? Let's read a little bit of it. It said, Wallen was suspended indefinitely from his label and saw airplay of his music drop Wednesday after the video was published by TMZ Tuesday night. The video showed Wallen outside a home in Nashville, Tennessee, yelling profanities and a racial slur. Billboard, citing MRC data, reported this week that Wallen's radio airplay dropped 71% on Wednesday compared to the day before. His airplay had remained relatively consistent for the 5 days leading up to the release of the video. A similar drop was noted on Billboard's country airplay chart. But preliminary reports from MRC data indicated that sales from Wallen's catalog of albums and songs went from a combined 5,000 on Tuesday to 22,500 on Wednesday, an increase of 339%. Here's the kicker. Billboard did not offer an explanation as to the reason for the spike. What the fuck Billboard gonna say? Oh, we live in a racist country? What the fuck? My man said nigga, his shit went up. But you see how it had power in the way that he said it. See, he ain't saying nigga like he trying to be cool with you. None of that. He said, he said it in a way that could resonate to the base. See, because all these Blancos excuses, it has to be taught. Racism has to be taught. No, it don't. If you on a basketball court and some nigga and you got your girl there watching you play and some nigga there shaking you up, Iverson get on the court, breaking your ankles, dunking on you. Oh, nigga, ain't nobody got to teach you to hate that nigga. You gonna hate that nigga naturally because it's called envy. Racism is birthed out of envy, and envy is completely natural. That's what you need to know. So let's get to it. Let's get to the nail in the coffin. Let's get to the video. Like I said, I'm not trying to encourage any nightmares, but you got to know and listen and watch this video in its entirety, because you might even jump by the end. I mean, if you're not prepared, but watch this video in its entirety. Okay. It's only 1:28. Let's get it. Don't get scared. Just go out how you want to go out. FOF squad.